Hello everyone, welcome back to Core Seeded. My name is Shakti Singh. Today I'll be teaching you about variables and data types. And further we'll go from local variable to global variable to operators. Let me just give a quick recap of what we learned yesterday. Syntax out, syntax in C++. I taught you that we have to include a library. In our case, we'll be including bits/std++.h. Now suppose, what are the syntax in C++? Now suppose you are given something like this and you go to using namespace std. This is completely valid because we have already included a library which defines namespace. IOStream also defines namespace, so that's not a problem. So after using namespace std, we can go to the main function which is actually read by the compiler. Actually, all the functions are read by compiler, but here we have to just quickly grasp what we are doing right now. So int main, this has to be there in the code, otherwise your compilation will not be successful. Now what we have to do here is something we need to know. Why these curly braces? This defines everything inside the curly braces belongs to a block. Our main function is a block. This has to take in parameters. This tells the compiler that this is a function which has a code interior to it, and the interior code should look something like this: return 0. You can actually write much more than this, but for now since it's a recap, let me just quickly give up the intro. So afterwards, what we studied that C++ is case sensitive. Suppose we write int age equals 10, age equals 20. Both are two different things. Case sensitive means capital letter and small letter both are different. There are few languages in which case doesn't matter. We'll discuss them later. Now what can you just write? What can you write on the first program? In the first program, you can just return this and then you can insert this here. That should run here and you should be good to go. Now afterwards, we studied a bit about variables. What are variables? Suppose you write anything like this, that means it's a variable name, and this has to be the data type of the variable. It should be written before defining the variable. So we can just construct it like this: int equals type, age equals variable name, and then 10 equals value. So you can just define anything like this: variable type, data type, you can just call it type, and then variable name equals value, and we are good to go. Don't forget semicolon, otherwise you will see some compilation error in your compiler. Now what can we do next? Suppose you are given something like this: int float long. Which do you think will be the best to choose? If you don't know anything about the variable, which data type do you think will be the best for you to choose? I will give double and long would be the best. And even if I have to choose in both of them, double is supposedly the best. Even while designing the system, we'll be using double more than long or integer float long. So double is the king of data type. You can imagine just that for numbers. And for strings, what we'll be doing, a string is actually an array of character. So we can either use array of character, or we can just move on with a string, or we can define character each time, and then we can both has similar time complexity, so you don't have to worry that a string has less time complexity or something like that. But the only difference is cout. I don't think even in cout it is, I believe, order of n. You'll have to check this. You can check that yourself. Time complexity for a string in C++. Time complexity for printing a string in C++. You can type that in browser and you'll get the answer. Now what can we move? Now where can we go next? Yeah, so I didn't teach you all about the characters or the boolean data. No, actually boolean data type was covered, or I don't think it was covered. But yeah. So what is a boolean data type? A boolean data type returns true or false value. You can write bool variable data type, bool, and then variable name. We can choose this as truth value. Well, the major practice is to write it something like this, because most of the time in a Spring Boot, this is considered better than using underscore. But yeah, in our case, we'll be using this for competitive programming. Even though this is not a good practice, capitalizing each time is a good practice even in system design. Next, we have to move to Boolean data type, true, comma, false, equals false. Don't forget the semicolon. Semicolon is an important part. Now, since both values are assigned, we can move on. We can move to the next topic. I don't know why I keep saying move on, but yeah. We move to the next thing about the values of those are stored in truth and false value. Now, suppose you see out truth value and see out false value. What do you expect the compiler to return? The true, false? If you suspect that the answer should be true, then you are wrong. The answer will be actually 1, and for false, the answer would be 0. What I think you should remember this: any number other than 0 in bool equals 1 equals true, which is equal to 1, and any number other than 1 in Boolean data type equals false. Basically 0 equals false equals 0. Sorry for going in the flow and writing that. 0 equals false equals 0. Actually, I'm a bit sleepy, so that was because of my carelessness. Here we go. 0 equals false equals 0, and any number other than 0 in bool equals true equals 1. Now suppose you have to go to the next topic. What do you expect me to teach? It should automatically click to your mind that we are going to learn what is string. String is actually defined by this. You have to use these columns You can either pass nothing in this, or you can pass a space, or you can pass some variables, some values inside this. So what do you have? Either you pass nothing, or you pass some space, or you can pass some value. Value can be something like that, anything like this. ABC underscore space 1, 2, 3. These quotation marks tells the compiler that this is a string data type. What about character? Character is supposed to be written in data type is supposed to be char for character data type. Now what does it store? It stores a character. You can either leave it, or you can give some space, or you can provide only one letter, or you can provide only one number, or you can provide some these symbols, special symbols we call them. Well, suppose you are not using bit/std c++.s, then you do include string library. Now suppose you are given something like this into the data type, something which is bool b equals true, and then integer a equals 1, and you have to add a plus b. What do you think? You have three options. First, option number 1, compilation error. Second, you'll get some different types of error. Different error. Third, we'll get something like 2. Four, answer only 1. You have 3 seconds to answer this. Bool data type. I'm so sorry if you are watching on phone, then I believe you won't be able to watch this. So just let me quickly. Yeah, so this is. Yeah, so the time is over. You're asked to return the answer. So the answer should be, because for true, what do you have the value? 1. 1 plus 1 equals 2. Yes, I know what you're thinking. How are we supposed to add two different data types? In C++, you have the authority to add integer with double, integer plus double, plus bool is a valid combination. In C++, not in Java. You can't actually do Boolean data types. That's what I believe you can't do. And in Java, how to declare the variables? Declaring variables is very easy. Just write data type, write the variable name, and then just use some semicolon. Float marks. Float marks. And then character char. And then boolean data type. Truth value. Now suppose you are given something like this. So these stuff are given to you. Then you are asked to which one is the declared variable. You can see all of them are the declared variables because each have a data type, a variable name, and a semicolon afterwards. So each of them are declared. Now what about initializing variables? Variables can be initialized by assigning a value. How do you assign a value? We use int age equals, this equals sign as the assignment operator. So after assigning a value, you can say that the value has been assigned and the variable has been initialized. Afterwards, you can choose float marks equals 95.6. You can say 96.7. Then you can choose character char ch equals a. Afterwards, you can move to some other stuff. Let me just quickly tell you, A and capital A both are different. So these two are all different stuff. Different. Since I already told you that C++. Since I already told you that C++ is a language which does distinguish between capitalized and small letters. That means both are different. Now suppose someone asks you what are the rules for variable names. You can say that for variable names you have to start them with variable name starts with underscore or A to Z characters. No numbers can be used to start the variable name. Next, you have spaces are not allowed between variables. Suppose I say total marks equals 20. This is wrong. Now suppose total marks are total marks out of 20, you have 19 scored. Out of 20, you have 20 scored. So scored marks you can either use underscore in between equals 20. So both will give you the same answer. I mean the print will be the same. Both will print 20 and 20. But yeah, you can choose something else. Now suppose I give you a practice example question. Let me just quickly go to rules first. A variable, you can actually take a screenshot of this and learn these rules, and afterwards then we can move to operators. But before that I want you to solve a question for me. Now suppose you are given something like this: integer age equals 15. Keep writing in your console or in your compiler or whatever you call it. Write it in your code editor, and then we will see what the answer will be in the compiler. Int age equals 16, double height equals 5.8, char grade equals caps A, bool is a student equals true, cout age, cout height, cout grade, cout is a student, and also cout age plus height. Then cout age plus height plus is a student, and then cout. Suppose I have to write an age. Let me just quickly write that and come back. I'll just pause it for now. Yes, so we are back with this. Suppose int age equals 18, double height equals 175.8, character grade equals A, boolean is a student equals true. Actually, we define them like this in C++. Otherwise, there are many more ways to define them other than this. Suppose you write int underscore 32, underscore 32. All of this stuff can be written like this. Now suppose you are cout age plus as a string. What do you believe the answer will be? For the first, I'm writing the answer. 19. For the second one, 18 plus 175.8 plus 1, 19 plus 175.8, whatever it will be. Just say it for you guys. Great. What do you think the output will be? Yeah, this is actually what I want you all to guess. What is the grade? You might say ASCII value, and the other group might say A will be the answer. Actually, let me just quickly change that. What do you think the answer would be? Will it be B or A? Or will it be the ASCII value? Yes, sorry, I have to use a bracket for this. Yeah, so the answer was B. It was neither ASCII value nor A, but the answer was actually B. And here, what did we get? 20. Yeah, so it was be 94.8, and here the answer should be 1. Why did I change it between the line, between the output line? Because we can do this, and we have multiple ways to do much more than this if you want. If you are interested in coding short length codes, then you have to actually write it like this sometimes. Suppose you are given more than this. Suppose you are asked, why do we consider writing data types before anything? It is just to tell the compiler what it is, but in Python we don't do that. Why? If anyone has the answer, write down that in the comments. Afterwards, we can move to the next part. Arithmetic operators. Suppose plus, minus, multiply, divide, and modulo are given to you. What do you expect the answer to be? I forgot to tell you that inside, not inside, but If I have something like this, this way, yes. Yeah. So if you're asked, can you define more than one variable in a single data type? You can always say yes if they are of the same data type. Otherwise, no. If they are not of the same data type. Suppose you say that I was able to define it like this, then I want to tell you that this means end line, or the line has been ended in C++. A semicolon means that. So either you write it like that or you write it like this, both means the same stuff, that you have changed the lines. Anyways, let's move to what I was going to teach you. Arithmetic operators. Suppose I want to solve a, this is one of the most important parts. What do you think it will return? It will return 3 as the answer, not 3.33. Why? Because both of the data types are integers, so the output has to be an integer. That's what compiler thinks, and it actually thinks correct. We want this to be an integer. Suppose if you don't want that to be an integer, you can just always say I want it as a double data type. So you can multiply anything with 1.0 or divide anything with 1.0. It will just give you the answer. Suppose I do it like this. The answer will be 3.3333 and 113. Or I do something like this. Answer would be still the same. It should be 3. No, actually the answer should be 3. Yeah, I forgot to tell you that compiler thinks whatever comes first, we have to serve that first. It doesn't compile completely at once. It goes text by text. The only default, you can say, or the only stuff. Suppose I do something like this, and will again give the answer as 3.33. Yeah, so you got that point. I believe you got that point. Suppose you are given a modulo b, then you can say, okay, a modulo b the output should be, I believe, 1. Yeah, so the 1 was the output. Suppose we do it. So since 12 is completely divisible by 3, there won't be any remainder. Modulo means remainder when a is divided by b. The answer should be 0. Yeah, you will keep experimenting all that in your own code editor, not compiler. Now, what are the assignment operators? Assignment operators are one of the most important parts in C++ programming. It's a competitive program because and full speed. What do you believe the answer should be? Obviously 10. After this, we can change this. Yeah, so the output was 10. Now, believe me or not, you can also do something like this. Boolean. The answer should be 1. Can anyone guess why? Just compile. Yeah, so the answer was 1. Why? Because Boolean b equals true equals 1. Now b plus equals 10. B plus equals a. B equals 10 equals 2 equals 1. Finally, the output was Boolean bit, right? And as I told you, you can always change the data type by doing some specific stuff. Suppose I write C equals B plus A. What do you think the output should be? The output should be it is 11. Why? Because we changed the data type to integer, and then A plus B was considered integer. Let me just quickly tell you what are precedence and precedency in data type cells, something like this: double, integer, and then boolean. Yeah, this is the precedency data type in C++. Suppose someone messes this out, then they have to actually forget about being a master at code forces approach. I mean, these are the basics, that's why I'm taking some time, otherwise I can even move faster than this. But since we have to explain it slowly for newbies, I'm taking my time in explaining that as a normal teacher. Now suppose you are done with this, what do you expect me to do the next? Obviously we'll be going with plus equals. What does plus equals means? B plus equaling means B equals B plus A. This means exactly something like this. So you can think what it will be. B equals 1 plus 10, so B becomes 11. We should get the output as 11. Here we got it. Here I changed the data type to integer, that's the reason we got the answer as 11, otherwise the answer was obviously 1 in boolean data type. F if it returns anything other than 0. What if I do it something like this? What should be the answer? Well, let me tell you an interesting fact on something like this. C++. Let me just quickly end this, and then we can move to the interesting fact in C++. Yeah, so the answer was 0 as expected. Now suppose I do b by equals a. It means b equals b by a. Out B and L and line basically. What do you expect the answer should be? Can anyone guess why it was 0? Because we divided something from this to this. Now suppose I have this as true and I have a value of a 0. What should be the answer now? Yeah, so this was rectangular because we got the infinity as the answer. Well, basically C++ doesn't calculate that, it directly throws error. Otherwise, by the definition, it should have been true. So this is something that C++ can improve in future, and it might throw 1 as the answer instead of throwing it directly as undefined or sigil error. This is a word in C++, we can say. But it's one way or the other, it's correct and it's not correct. Whatever you want to take it. It depends on you. The answer. But maybe it takes it undefined instead of taking it as infinity. So maybe because of that, it's a conflicted issue. We can't say anything much on this topic. But yeah, we always know that rules can change anytime we want. Now suppose you are given something like modulo equals, okay, expect the answer should be 1 modulo equals, okay, this one is actually good. Yeah, anyone guess what the answer should be? Will it be the runtime error or will it be 1 or 0? So the answer was again sigil. Undefined. Well, basically here you can say that the answer was correct, but there I don't know why was the answer wrong. Well, still you can say that anything divided by 0. Let me just quickly check one thing on the internet. In Desmos, you can actually see that it shows 0 as the answer, which is false. I mean, 1% of it. Remainder when 1 is divided by 0. So the answer is undefined for now. And what about the remainder? This is actually we don't have any remainder because it's undefined value, so maybe that's why it gave us sigil error instead of giving true as the answer. But still, what I wanted to say is that anything other than 0, the output should be true. Whether it is undefined or defined, that does not matter. Till the time it's not 0, and we know that definitely that it's not 0. So the answer should have been true in that case. In case of modulo, this sigil is actually good thing, or you can say the correct thing, it should have been. But in case of y equals or divided by equals a, it should have been 1. The answer should have been 1. Anyways, let's move to the next topic. Actually, for how long have I been recording? Oh, there's no way to watch. So should we keep it just this much for today, or should I move to comparison operators too? Actually, let's leave comparison and logical operators for tomorrow. I'll be explaining them in depth. Thank you everyone for joining.